Hello, everyone. Welcome to Astrological Color Theory. These sessions, just a heads up, they're going to be long for three reasons. First of all, I could talk about this shit for days. I'm obsessed. It's a problem. Second, I am literally cramming when it comes to like the basics and color theory just in general and psychology. I'm literally cramming an entire semester of school when I went to study fashion into a kit for you guys. And yes, my teachers would kill me. But also on top of that, we've got the astrological layer. Okay, so this is just a shit ton of information, but I just wanted to get it out into the world. So yeah, it's gonna overwhelm you. Watch it a ton of times, take a shit ton of notes, and just know that there's nothing to like figure out inside of the workbook. There's nothing to like build like with my other kits, okay? It's just like welcome to class. That's all it is. So, diving in, we are going to start with psychology because I know you guys get all bonery over that one. I am obsessed. It's an obsession. And the reason for this is because people don't understand why they like certain colors. It's so funny to me to see why people identify with certain colors without even realizing what it means. So I am that crazy person that, yeah, I'm going to ask your sun, moon, and rising, but I'm also going to be like, what's your favorite color? And I'm going to judge you when you tell me because I'm evil like that. So, yeah, for sure. Like, that old phrase where it's like, yeah, a picture is worth 1,000 words. But honestly, you know what is worth 1,000 words is the fucking colors in those pictures. Okay. So, like, damn, I'm excited. I'm going to have to calm down. So, like I said, this is for you guys to obviously like learn. Knowledge is power. Obviously, it's amazing and exciting, but to pay attention to when you're like, oh, I like that shade of this color. Oh, I like that tint. Oh, I like that. I like the more neutral toned version of this color. You will know why, okay? Because we are just drawn to or like enticed by colors, things, people, everything in life because what? Our subconscious is trying to call our attention to something. So this is just to help bring awareness to it. Again, another layer on top of astrology, okay? And of course, if you guys do end up getting your brand package with me, if you go through the Instagram for Intuitives experience and then you do your branding afterwards, get all the content and stuff, this is to help you guys see that you can't fuck with those colors. And if you fuck with the colors, you're literally fucking with your brand, you're fucking with your message, and you're gonna again completely change the message of your brand. Okay. So I see this a lot, and I'm like, don't pick on them, don't pick on them. They're using it, they're trying their best. And I'm like, that's the wrong fucking shade of green. So this is just so you guys can see and like self-diagnose without me having an aneurysm. Okay. So let's dive in here again. Take some notes. Take some notes. So we're going to start with purple. Again, all of the reasons, but because it does lead us into red. It always bothers me when people start the rainbow with red. It's not how it works. There's purple on the edge of it. So we are going to start with purple. Just in general, again, like you guys got to remember, yes, I was like a ridiculous artist before going to fashion school, but it is so incredible to know this wholeheartedly from a branding perspective because those fuckers, fashion fuckers, industry fuckers, media fuckers, advertising fuckers, they know what they're doing. They know what they're doing. It's big brothery, just to be honest with you guys. Kind of freaked out when I was in school. So when it comes to purple, themes in general are very important to note. So totally write this shit down, okay? Luxury, and I'll explain why. A little bit of mystery, I will explain why. And of course, spirituality, and you guys know I will explain why. So yeah, duh. When you see purple, of course, it's like, yeah, mystical energy, right? Like I remember even before, like when I was a little snotty cynic person before any of my awakening stuff, I remember someone saying like, oh, I want to paint the door purple because that means like spiritual people live in this house. And I was like, that's dumb. But now I'm like, oh yeah. And then I started seeing all of these, like posts or like old folks tales where it's like if you see a purple door, a witch lives there, right? So purple is like one of the witchiest colors out there, but it's super super spiritual, and you can get lost in it as well. So just because you're spiritual doesn't mean you should be using the color purple, okay? But again, historically, purple was a sign of royalty, so I'll explain why in a second. So we've got some purples up in here, and yeah, we're going to dive into like blue purple as well. But just to start, what is so interesting to me, and again, like fashion history nerd right here, it is crazy. The only reason, this is so fucking gross, the only reason that purple has anything to do with royalty is because you could, like, the only fucking way to extract that color, it was from snails. Okay, so like while everyone's doing other forms of like dyeing color with, you know, you can dye color with like vegetables and stuff like that, the only way to get purple historically was like, okay, let's kill a bajillion fucking snails. Also, if you guys have like any interest in fashion whatsoever, you're going to want to study the time periods. Like, for example, if you look back at the Rococo, like the French, the famous like Marie Antoinette era, it was all pastels. And that's because at that time, in that time period, it's not that they were all Libras. It is that they didn't have the technology to create rich, luxurious colors in fabric. So it's just like, okay, let's just like have a bunch of pastels, but it had nothing to do with like intention or fashion, which is lack of technology. So like I told you, I talk a lot about this stuff. It's so interesting. So lavender, okay, please, again, write this down. You need to know this. Very, very important, especially with the branding. If you guys end up getting that, or if you have it already and you're using the wrong shades or colors, lavender is blue based. Okay, so when you have a blue based purple that is light blue based purple, that is daydreaming. This is creativity, and again, encouraging the mind to wander. Very, very interesting stuff. So yeah, when it's more like blue, it will also suppress your appetite. And again, like I am an insane person. I actually painted a kitchen this color when I was in school and I found this out. And me and my roommate were like, all right, let's test this fucking shit. And I actually lost a shit ton of weight. It was kind of gross, actually. That was like the skinniest I've ever been. I was like, well, motherfucker. So, like, please be healthy, but that works. It is so weird. It is so fucking weird. So, when it comes to lilac, okay, this is the pink based light purple. This is friendly, this is playful, and this is the color of compassion, of empathy. And the reason for that is because it's the pink mixed with the purple. Okay, so when you add blue, it makes it, we'll go through all the stuff with the blue, but it adds all of the blue energy into that purple, right? So again, if you guys know your basics with the colors, you can mix all the shit all together and be like, cool, I got some of this, some of that shade in here, this color over here, blah blah blah, this mix, and it's giving me this and this energy. Okay, again, really cool. So more pink, like this shade here, this tint, sorry, compassion, nurturing. And of course, if you look at this, and we'll go through this later, but this is the difference between Libra purple pastel and Pisces purple pastel, lilac, lavender, blue, pink. Okay, so when we have more richer purples, like when it's darker, this is when it's very tied to either like religion, tradition. Like again, I grew up in Catholic school. I don't know about you guys, but I'm sure that you have seen like a priest dude with like a purple robe, right? So again, like oof, if you again getting into history, if you guys look at, you know, what is it called? Matriarch, royalty, whatever, that and the church, you couldn't separate them. It was the same thing, right? If you ever did anything against the church, like your country was fucked, right? So of course, this like royalty snail murdering privilege seeped into the church. So just make that note. And again, I don't use the purple. I'm not a fan of the purple, okay? And it's because I actually know what it means. So yeah, it's definitely tied to religion, definitely tied to tradition, definitely tied to privilege. And again, there are so many different ways that you can go with it, but just know this is where purple came from fucking up some poor little snails. So getting into more of the blue based purples, okay? When we have the red and the blue, when we actually create purple, what we're doing is we mix red, literally, the stimulation of red, and then blue calms. It is so fucking interesting. So if a purple is more blue, it is going to be more calming, more introspective, and to bring about more clarity. If it's more red, it's going to be more like, fuck you, motherfucker, let's wake up. Okay, so again, very, very different uses of the same color. And it's just, again, such a huge impact on your guys' business. If you get your branding, those palettes were like, they took me 2 years to create. Okay, so do not change those colors if you guys get access to them. Okay, so in terms of, again, more just diving into purple, what's very, very interesting about, again, leaning more into like the blue based purple, what's interesting is it calms, but also stimulates the body. So what you have when you use purple, especially more of like a blue purple, it's this like introspective, focused spiritual insight, right? So fucking cool. So of course, again, I'm sure you guys all know this, but just in case you don't, purple generally, it's tied to the crown chakra and just the like the concept of enlightenment. And again, if you guys think about spirituality, enlightenment, and religion, they all use purple, but in a different way. So you're gonna see more like aggressive red purples in traditional religion. You're gonna see more blue, introspective, clarity focused purples in spirituality. So cool, right? And we're only in the purples. We're only in the purples. I'm so excited. Okay, so I'm gonna calm myself down. What is so fucking cool, like I said, the more red, the more awakening. So what we have here when we mix blue and purple, we are not only awakening senses, but we're actually encouraging this intuition and insight, okay? So again, if you go a little bit more red, it's going to be more awakening. So if you guys are whatever, whatever you guys are using this for, just please note, like, do I want to chill my audience the fuck out? Or do I want to kind of like scare them a little bit? Do I want to have them like a little bit more of a wild ride on their spiritual awakening? Things to ask, okay? And then when we dive in to the dark purples, again, warning, warning, warning. Darker purple, this signifies an escape from reality, okay? So think of like, yeah, the universe, right? That's some scary shit. Think about the ocean, scary shit, right? So the darker purple, like deep sea indigo or galaxy indigo, that is all about the other world, escape. Like, I don't want to be in reality, okay? And again, when we go through the signs, you guys are gonna be like, oh shit, I get that one now. So it's just so exciting. Okay, so moving on to the pinks. Again, this is a color that I'm like, I don't like the meaning of it, and I actually kind of like revolted subconsciously, didn't even really mean to do this, but I kind of revolted against pink after I learned a little bit more about it. And reflected on myself in my Libra journey. So just in general, again, it's really good to know like the industry standard, again, basic interpretations of what this color means. So yeah, obviously femininity, it's very like playful. The lighter pinks, it's more like, you know, like little girl Lego shit, right? And then of course, pink, Valentine's Day, romance, just general bullshit right there. So what's interesting, and of course this is absolutely changing in the world that we live in now, but you guys know it's important to still acknowledge history and facts, and again, where people's brains are programmed to go like this, just because we decide that, you know, we don't want kids to identify with a gender when they're born, so we're not going to shove fucking like pink or blue down their throats, doesn't mean that's not how humanity is subconsciously programmed. Our subconscious programming goes back to like the dawn of man, okay? So just because things are changing doesn't mean our psychological responses change. Please note that as well. So it is internationally known as the color of being a girl, right? Gender reveal party bullshit and all that stuff. But just in the spiritual industry, what's really cool is that this can help us lean into our feminine energy, okay? So diving into the pinks. What is so interesting, and we'll talk about what the actual words for this are in the next session. Yeah. So the softer or pastel, when you add white, okay, when you add white to a pink, what this does is it makes it more safe and innocent. Again, what's up, Libra? Hello. Thank you for coming, right? So softer pastel pinks, I'm innocent, I'm safe, safe space here. And this is why I'm sure you guys have seen me do this too if you followed me on Instagram for a while. When people ask me for a brand audit, I'm like, why the fuck do you have pink? You're playing it safe, bitch. You shouldn't be playing it safe. Get some fucking red in there. It's like, this should not be in your brand, or in like, if you're trying to empower yourself with your wardrobe, I am very sorry, but you should not be wearing a light pink shade, period. Okay. Just because it's like, oh, industry standard. Nope. Far away, far away. And again, just watch. This is why the pink, I'm like, nah, we're not gonna fuck with pink. So what's so interesting, again, think of your pinky finger. This is where the word came from. So the word pink, the association, the psychological association that we have with pink, pinky, small. Okay, there you go. Every fucking person on Instagram who's using fucking pink and they're fucking branding, it's not fucking supposed to be, they are playing it small. Bullshit. Bullshit. I'm gonna yell and swear a lot. This is my shit. Okay. So what's also interesting, again, when we think about like pink, it's like, yes, little girls, right? So it does imply that you're youthful or small, but also timid or shying away. So like, fuck this color. Fuck this fucking color. Okay. Not into it, obviously. Okay, so leaning into the more vibrant colors, and it's so funny if you guys go way back on my account and look at like the journey that I have had with colors. I just, oh God, it's so stressful to think about this. I'll talk more about it in the astrological session, but like my journey with pink, it's a tumultuous one. I'll say that at the very least. So magenta or hot pink. Okay, like you guys know, like fucking Barbie pink, right? It's the shade of female or feminine empowerment. And what is cool, and I use the shit out of this color for a long time, is it demands to be heard. It's like, yeah, I'm feminine, but you're gonna fucking listen to me. Okay. So it's not like angry feminism, like fiery, I'm gonna kill you, like, you know, the feminism that we have nowadays. It's ridiculous. It is like, what's up? I'm here. I'm a strong feminine energy person. And yeah, I command your attention, right? So it's almost like, again, when you guys think about like angry feminists, this color does not represent that at all, because they are ragey, and this color just naturally commands attention, but it doesn't like, it doesn't, I was gonna say demand, but it just calls your attention. It's like enticing. That's the word I want to use. Enticing, not scary. So again, really cool shit. You can explore all of the different variations of like hot pink and just see how it makes you feel. Again, I would love for all of you guys to go through this and be like, oh, this color makes me feel this way. It makes me feel this way. There's space for that at the end of your workbook. So what's really cool, again, when it gets into more like a petally kind of like natural toned, like if you guys have ever pulled apart like a rose, right? There's all these different soft shades of red and pink, and of course there's all the different colors of a rose, right? But really, if you think about a rose and pulling it apart, I'm sorry, but that's a vagina, right? So this, again, I'm being honest, psychological subconscious associations. Flowers look like vaginas, okay? So when you have more like floral rose toned pinks, it's all about sensuality. And yeah, it can be associated with romance, but it really is more about like the sensuality, the senses of being a woman, of discovering what it means to be a woman. Okay. So really cool, more like allowing feminine discovery colors in here, if that makes sense to you guys. So what I think is cool, and again, maybe if you guys use pink, this is where your head's at, but I just want to give you the warning of the pinky and the small and the timid and the shy. Pink psychology, quite interesting. It really is the passion and aggression of red, but it's calmed the fuck down with white. Okay. So this, I did like a book study when I was super, super, super young. And this is one of the things that really stuck into my head. This girl went to a mental institution and she was like studying the wall colors. She was like, is it which one calms down psychos? Where did they put me? She was like trying to figure out where she was. And she's like, it's pink in here. What does that mean? Are they trying to calm me down? Or is it blissful blue that calms down psychos? It was so funny. And it stuck with me. And then when I learned about this, I was like, wow, that's really a thing. So yeah, pink does calm down psychopaths. So I mean, like, okay, if that's your jam, you got the Libra in your chart, in your branding formula. All right, cool. You can use it with intention, but don't ever use pink because it looks nice or it's like, oh yeah, that looks so pretty, because you are literally making yourself small. Okay. Use it to calm down criminal minds like myself. Moving on to red. Again, just write down the basics, industry standards, I call them. When it comes to red, it's like energy, immediate energy, right? Passion, but also danger. It's kind of like a warning color, right? It's like stop signs are red, okay? Because they actually command more attention than yellow does. So very interesting, again, very general, but passion, rage, lust, physical, okay? I want you guys to make a hardcore note. Red is embodiment. Physical, physical, physical red, okay? Excitement, boldness, and what's really interesting too is like, again, it's not okay. Caution versus warning. That's how I'm going to phrase that. Like yellow is like warning, like, yeah, like caution, like watch out, think about what you're about to do. And red's like fucking stop. You're going to die. Does that make sense to you guys? Just think about like street signs and warning symbols and all that stuff. It's like death is going to happen if you don't stop in your tracks right now. Whereas yellow is just like, pay attention, think about your stuff. So I, of course, am a fan of red. So what's really interesting, and again, I love diving into the chakras, but understanding like, where did this come from? Where did these beliefs and associations come from? So really interesting. The darker the red, it's actually associated, against subconsciously, with blood. So it immediately makes us think of like belonging, family, ties, ancestors, responsibility to our ancestors, like our blood legacy. Really cool. So the darker reds, okay? And of course, it's definitely tied to the root chakra, right? So those things are the same message. Knowing who you are, knowing your place in the world, knowing, I guess, yeah, like your family legacy or whatever, if you have like responsibility to your ancestors, like I know so many of you guys do, blood red. If you're being called to blood red, dark red, this is why your ancestors are like, can you fucking do something with your life? Or maybe they're not that aggressive. That's how I'm going to talk to my lineage. So also very interesting. And again, meh, the like association with this just turns me off. When it's more of like a burgundy red, this is like high class and literally simple shit. Don't overcomplicate this. It's because it reminds us of wine. That's it. That's all it is. Okay. So if you ever see burgundy, just know that it's like, oh, I associate this with high class because I am literally just thinking of fucking wine. Very, very simple. What is so cool to me, and again, you guys know this, just basic shit. This is the color of Aries. Red, when it's mixed with orange, what this does is it gives like a splash of yellow, and yellow, we'll get into this shortly. It's the color of like happiness. It's all about happiness. Okay. Like, yeah, jubilance. Okay. So red with a splash of yellow, which is just, red, orange. It's all about passion, and happiness, which really is ambition. If you guys think about like being happy and like, I guess, satisfied or excited about your passion, to me, that really is ambition. Without even studying color theory, it's like, yeah, I'm fucking excited about what I'm doing. It's not just like a blinding rage ambition, like pure red, or this kind of like dutiful responsibility, like blood red. It's like, I'm ambitious as fuck and I like it. It feels good. Okay. So lean more into the orange reds if that's what you're wanting to convey. So this, again, nerd alert. This is so cool. Red is a physical stimulant. Red is a physical stimulant. This is the color of your body, of embodiment. Why? Because it activates our adrenal glands and it literally gives us more energy. Again, I'm going to be a crazy person when I have like a huge house. I'm going to paint my gym fucking bright red. It's just, it's so cool to see what color does to us. Even, okay, rabbit hole. When I was studying fashion history in the first school that I went to, even to see how these translate from country to country, back when countries could not communicate with each other, there was kind of just, again, this like commonality with the colors. And for sure it had to do with like resources and what was available and what you could actually do, like with the snail example. But again, like I told you guys, get your hands on some Carl Jung books. Our subconscious goes back further than we can account for. Symbols and colors and archetypes mean something to us that we can't even really touch or understand, and we don't know where it came from, but we all have this in us. It's so interesting. So it actually gives us more energy, but warning, 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 if you guys are going to like paint your whole house red, it makes you more hungry because it stimulates everything, stimulates your body. So it's like, I'm going to fucking eat all day long. And yeah, maybe don't put red in your kitchen. So moving on, we will talk about orange. Again, just write down the general meanings: creativity, youth, enthusiasm. And literally orange is just like red on crack. Okay. So it's just like fucking, it's not like as aggressive as red, because red is like a pure primal color, right? But when you mix yellow with red, sorry, it is like, what's up, motherfucker? Let's fuck this shit up. And yeah, what, like, you know, orange is the color of Leo. So we get shit done. So all the energy and stimulation of red, but without all the seriousness. Really, it's so cool. So we'll just go ahead and we'll call orange the color of drama, which, yeah, what's up? Leo's orange, right? I'm not going to deny that. So interesting. Physically, orange actually gives us a more powerful response than red. So we get all of the color effects of red, but it also stimulates the thyroid, which increases our metabolism. Okay, so yeah, not only are we covering like psychology, but we're covering what happens to our body when our brain processes a color. It's like fucking stimulates so much in us. And I'm so excited to talk about green because that's the most interesting color to me. So it actually increases our metabolism. Okay. And yeah, like there's orange themed gyms. I think there's actually a gym chain called Orange. So people study this shit and they know what they're doing. So one thing that I became obsessed with when I learned this, peaches and corals. And again, if you guys have one of like the socializing networking brands, if you've gone through Instagram for intuitives, you see why I put this inside of your brand palette now, right? It's like, get out there, communicate, socialize. The reason for this is because we take all of this like physical stimulation, the drama, the excitement, all of that. And what we do is we add pink to it. And in the case of peach, you add white to it as well. So when we add pink to orange, we get like friendliness and fun. So it's like, all of a sudden, if you see coral or peach, you're like, I am excited to network. Weird. It's really fucking cool. Very interesting. And again, the more that you guys grow, you're going to notice like you are just innately drawn to different colors. I am definitely going to do a course on this when we talk about like channeling our houses, channeling different levels of our life, channeling like fifth house confidence, for example. It's like, okay, time to be a leader. Example. So what's very interesting is, okay, I am 32 years old right now recording this session. I used to hate fucking harvest orange with every ounce of my being. And now I love that color. I am obsessed with it. I think I'm a grown up. So what's interesting, and this again, it's just so basic, right? So it's nice to know that even though, yeah, we're talking about psychology and, you know, physical triggers and health and all these effects, it's just simple. Harvest orange. Duh, it's harvest time. Pumpkins, gourds, all of these like squash things, everything's like these rich, just, yeah, like harvest energy, time to eat, you've reaped the rewards. colors. So it is, yeah, associated with fall and the leaves changing color for sure. So there's kind of like an aspect of death there, but with death comes rebirth and more opportunity for more harvest in the future. So autumn, yes, like whenever people see orange or like harvest orange, like Halloween, fall, I'm supposed to have a fall brand all year long. And it's like, okay, maybe when you grow up, like I'm talking to my past self right now, maybe when you grow up, you'll see what this color actually means. It's like we have to live into that part of ourselves that is actually capable of abundance and capable of harvesting that abundance before we can appreciate and relate to the color. So yeah, like I was a broke motherfucker when I didn't like this color. And I'm like, oh yeah, got my harvest on. So hopefully that makes sense to you guys. So again, orange, it does combine red, right? It's excitement, but also what's funny to me, because yellow represents Gemini, and of course Leo, but the juvenile properties of yellow. Okay, so it's like excitement, but it's juvenile. And this is why orange is associated with drama. Funny shit, right? Again, write all the notes, write them down again, and then do some self-study, see what you're drawn to. So just in general, when we're talking about yellow, it is happiness. It is very hopeful. Again, if you guys think about like in tarot, the star card, the moon, the sun, it's like, oh, I have hope for tomorrow. And when the stars come and, you know, all again, simple, but it's psychologically ingrained in us. And also depending on the tone, again, we'll learn about this in the next session, depending on the tone, it can be spontaneous. So just in general, yellow is all about cheerfulness and communication, and it is the color of intelligence, but also stimulating conversation. Very, 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 very dependent on the tone. I do want to stress that. Okay, so obviously we've got more of like a green toned yellow palette here. So we're going to talk about that first. So just in general, yellow, and this goes for all of the shades and the tints and the tones, yellow is very optimistic. It is all about joy and happiness, and a bright yellow. I do want to like point that out, bright yellow. It's tied to the solar plexus, okay, to that chakra. And it does, again, cool stuff, physical response. It gives us this sense of like physical vitality. Okay. So it's not like the like angry red where we're like, I'm going to fuck someone or I'm going to kill them or both. It's just like I don't even want to say my health, but it is like this youthful energy where it's like I can just do this all day long because I'm so happy and I've got this amazing, you know, popping off vessel. I don't know how to phrase it, but yeah, vitality is the word. So it is innately tied to confidence as well. So when we're talking about green toned yellows, again, simple stuff, guys. Think about nature, okay? Rebirth, naivety. So what happens? Again, I'm obsessed with plants, but if you guys aren't, when new growth happens on plants, it is always green, yellow, yellow, green. And then the more mature it gets, the darker it gets. So like sneaky little subconscious message for you guys there. So again, what's so interesting and also overwhelming, yellow, duh, it's tied to Gemini. How many Geminis do you guys know that are fucking frightening human beings? It's because yellow, this bright tone yellow, it invigorates the nerves, the brain, and the glands, all stimulated by bright yellow. I do want to stress bright yellow, okay? Not warm, sunshiny, glowy yellow. So it's like if it's we'll go through this in the next session, but if it's a cool tone yellow, it's like, yeah, what's up, motherfucker? You think you stress. I'm going to stimulate you for days. So like, be careful with this color and don't use it around clients or people or whatever who are stressed. And if you guys are tied to that color, just know it's, or drawn to that color, sorry, just know it's because you are looking for more mental stimulation and more socializing, okay? You want to share fucking information with more intelligent people than talk to the same little sharp people that you talk to every day. What's really cool, and I did become obsessed with this color after I learned this, it boosts memory. It stimulates communication, obviously, and it is the most powerful color for encouraging interaction but also mental activity. It's like your brain gets so stimulated that it's like, I gotta fucking share everything that I know with everyone in the world right now. And what's up? Yes, you do have a Gemini when you get that. So if you have your shit together, I do want to warn you, it can help with quick decision making and clear thinking. But if you are a person who's already all on their nerves and is already stressed out, this is not the color for you. So again, be careful with your branding. We have lots of tools available for you guys to actually get this right. So diving into the warm or the gold toned yellows, gold and grain. Think about this. Grain, what is grain historically? Abundance, food. I get to fucking eat. Okay. Very, very simple, simple, simple stuff, but we just overcomplicate everything. So if you see wheat again in like the 1800s, it's like, yay, a meal. So it's just associated with abundance because of that. Modern day, when you think of gold, it's authority and it's success. Okay. So it can be a very like once pure color has become very ego driven. And yeah, of course, this is associated with Leo. So it can be used as a status symbol, but I want to stress this because this is why you found me. Do not use gold as a flex. I've actually worked with a lot of clients that like get really excited about the gold in their like whatever Leo, or it's in a couple other placements that I have with the 36 palettes that I've developed. They get really excited about it and they're like, oh yeah, I'm the queen, I'm in charge. I'm like, you're doing it wrong. You are totally using that color with the wrong intention. So if you catch yourself thinking gold is a status symbol, you are fucked and you need to grow a little bit. Okay. What it actually represents in spirituality, it is your higher self, higher wisdom, generosity. Okay. It shares and it gives knowledge. It is not a fucking flex color. Okay. So again, be very self-aware of how you interpret or what colors make you feel is more important to talk about. So when we talk about, again, warm tone colors, it's warm. It's warm. It's like the sunshine. Okay. So it reminds us of a bright tomorrow. So again, it is a very hopeful color. It's very comforting. And yes, it's all about optimism. But it's like when you think about like the warm tone optimism, it's trust. That's the word I want to use. It's trust. Okay. Right? Like when you think about the ancients, they worshiped the sun, and it's because they knew that it gave them life, and they would just have trust that it would always return tomorrow. Okay. So again, that's ingrained in us from years, millions of years ago, just as humanity in general. So when it comes to like warm versus cool tone, we'll talk about that in another session, but obviously you guys can see the difference, right? Moving on, my favorite color in the world, never used to be. And again, the more I learned about it, the more I'm like, wow, this has so much meaning and use. So green, duh, nature, duh, growth, harmony, wealth, and stability. Again, so many different ways that you can use green. Again, if you guys have gotten your branding from me, you know what I am talking about. So it's really, really cool. And again, this just reminds me of like my mission, my Taurus midheaven, and all of the green. It is all about having everything you need. Okay. So if you guys see green and you're like, it's because you don't have that. It's because you don't have everything you need. Okay. You have a lack mentality. Think of nature, think of earth. All we need is earth. But humans, humanity, we have just fucked it and we're all going to die soon. So please green up your life. Thank you very much, because that's all that you need. If you associate green with cash, you a fool. You a lack mindset fool. Go get in a garden, idiot. So green is the color of growth. And this is super cool to me, which translates to progress. I love it. I love it. I love using green in my brand now. So green, it's presently, right? Like right fucking now, abundant, okay? As opposed to gold, which stresses that the work is already done, okay? Please write this down. Please write this down. Write it down a million times like Bart Simpson when he's in trouble. Because if you see green like even think of the word, if you call someone green, it's like, oh, they're naive, right? It's like, oh, you got a lot of work and growing up to do, which I think is cool. It's an opportunity because we're not sullied, right? So if you think about, yeah, like green versus gold, when I, like I said, working with clients in the past, gold, it's like status, 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 status. And I'm like, you're gross. So they're not even able to see the higher self opportunity with that gold. It's like they missed the whole mark with their green opportunity, if that makes sense. So work is yet to be done. And you know, you're not a grown up yet, but look at all this growth that you have available to you. Like you have everything you need. You just have to, I guess, be grateful for it and feel blessed. Okay. So calm down, but I am obsessed with this fucking color. Green stimulates the pituitary gland. If you guys knew my history with my brain health and how I slept in the day and was awake at night my entire fucking life since like adolescence, and I actually nearly killed myself with these habits and fucking my pituitary gland. Green, green, green. And it's why now that I'm in my health journey, I am so obsessed with plants and nature and restoring earth because it's fixing my fucking brain. So this does literally, I'm not exaggerating, it regulates your body functions. Health, 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 health. If you look at green and you're like, oh, I like that color. If you look at plants, you're like, that makes me feel good. It's because your brain's fucked up and it needs some help, and your health is suffering because of your poor brain health. Okay. So again, this is why it's the color of harmony, because it does level us out and it encourages our brain to be fixed. And literally it takes like 3 years to fix your pituitary gland. So don't get too excited. You can't just go stare at green one day and it's all fixed. What's really cool, and almost like ironic too, if you guys have allergies, green relaxes the muscles, which is incredible. Think about use of green in a spiritual setting and like a calming setting, right? Instead of pink, like, oh, safe space. It's like, no, green, let's calm down. So it raises the blood histamine levels, which is so funny to me because this calms allergies. So it's almost like I'm a nerd. I have like such ridiculous allergies. But if you go into nature, it's like, oh, I'm going to calm down my allergies when they're actually being like stimulated. It's very confusing. So this, when I again found this out, this really just did like reaffirm my beliefs. If you guys have ever studied like EFT tapping or anything like that, that like we store beliefs in our body, like allergies are programmed into us. So you just have to change your beliefs and the way that your body stores these beliefs and emotions and responses to certain colors. Really interesting. Green relieves stress as well. Magic color, the color of fucking magic. So what is very interesting as well, lighter shades. So when we add white, that should say tints, sorry, lighter tints of green represent fertility and serenity. So yeah, it's kind of like the same theme as the yellow green when it's like new growth, but it's more white than yellow. So this is where the serenity comes in, okay? So this is super cool. I'm obsessed with this color. Spiritually, green, heart chakra, bridges the gap between spiritual and physical worlds, okay? Heart chakra. And what's so funny to me is, again, because in, you know, way more intelligent than us, Eastern religions and spirituality, heart green. And look at all the magic of green. And then if you look to Western culture, we're like, oh, heart, love, pink. Think about the difference in psychology and what it does to your body and brain between pink and green. Fuck that shit. I am never, ever going to associate love or my heart or my chakra or any of that shit, like my heart chakra or any of that relationship stuff, love, whatever, with pink ever again. I'm not making myself small in a relationship, in a money relationship, in love. I'm green all the way. So hopefully you guys understand where I'm going with this rant. I do get passionate. One other thing I want to point out, we'll dive into this more when we get into the next couple sessions. Olive green, okay, symbolizes peace and compassion for humanity as well as service to others. Think of an olive branch, right? So what is so funny to me is when people get olive green in their branding that I very much intentionally assigned to that specific deacon, that 10-degree section, and they use another green, I'm like, oh shit, it's because you're not ready to serve others, okay? And you're still in self-service. Again, I'm just sitting here judging you guys by what colors you like decide work instead of using the actual ones in your brand. It's so funny. Again, like high reality check. If you guys get your brand done, like go in and do it yourself, of course, and you don't like those colors, it's because you're not ready to have a business yet. It's because you have to grow into who you're supposed to be. Okay. I'm whispering because I'm yelling too much. Moving on, mixing the blues with the green. Super cool as well. Turquoise. Okay, so I do want to point this out. I didn't know this when I was super young. Turquoise is the light one. Teal is the dark one. Okay, I've seen a lot of people fuck this up, and I actually ruined someone's wedding when I worked at a rental place with this mistake. Turquoise, blue green. It holds many meanings, but what's very interesting, and I am obsessed with this, is it's all about the blue and the green chakras, the throat and the heart meeting. So it's about communicating fucking love. Isn't that incredible? Turquoise. Okay, turquoise is the magic color. Also very interesting, just historically, right? It's ingrained in us. Think about lakes and rivers, right? Again, when we think about like abundance, we're like money, cars, fucking bullshit, shopping that harms the environment. But really, our ancestors and our subconscious responses to these colors, it's like water is abundance, you fucking idiot, because you get to drink it and live life. Okay. So once again, we have everything we need on earth, but humanity, we are shard people and we've just destroyed it. Moving on, teal, like I said, the darker turquoise. Okay, like literally you would just add black to turquoise to create teal. It is deep and it is reflective, so it's got all this meaning of turquoise, but because we add black to it, suddenly it's like, oh, I'm learning to communicate love and have clarity of thought, but it's more reflective. Okay, so it invites people to go internal. Very interesting, right? Also, I love this. It is the color of tranquility. How many like meditation places have you guys been where it's like turquoise, or sorry, teal, right? It is the color of like meditation, of tranquility, of reflection. So it's so interesting as well as blue just in general. It meets the healing properties of green. So we'll get into blue in a minute here, but I'm obviously a nerd and I have a problem, and I hope you guys are as excited about this stuff as I am. So when we add white to a color, we get a tint. So a tint of turquoise, also known as aqua, it becomes refreshing, right? So white, we'll get into this after, it's the color of like newness, clean slate. So if you add a clean slate, white, to any color, it gives it a like I don't want to say refresh because we're using this color, this word for this color, but it gives it like a new leaf that you're turning over with that color. Hopefully that makes sense. So aqua, or even lighter colors than aqua, like seafoam green or anything like that, it actually gives this like refreshed new way of thinking and feeling, and it actually balances our mind with our emotions. So again, if you look at like aqua, turquoise, teal, it's like the different graduations of communicating love and of understanding and of thinking of love and processing love and communicating, and yeah, all of the throat chakra, talky the heart, lovey money. Okay, so it's like you would start out with aqua if you're just trying to get people to address something. If they can't even get to the point where they can actively say or think or do, you're like, here's some fucking aqua, take this aqua, get away from me, because you need refreshment when it comes to this. Okay, and then you would graduate into learning to communicate about this and have actual mental clarity, and then you're like, cool, time for some shadow work, here's some teal, have a great day. So it's very interesting to see like tints, the vibrant colors, and of course the shades, which is when we make them darker, and then when you mix it with another color, it just gets sexy, it gets magical and sexy. So blue, we are maybe halfway done. I told you I was going to talk a lot. Blue, calm, trust, intelligence. This is the industry standard of this color. And this is so fucking interesting to me because how many banks, oh my gosh, okay, Canadian here. When I drove, because the first time I ever went to the US, I went from Vancouver on a bus to Washington. I don't remember which city. And I was like, what's up with all the fucking blue everywhere? It was so weird to me because we're not like a America blue collar. We don't have that vibe at all. Like certain areas, sure, but you guys love blue if you're in the US. It's kind of weird. And it's like, okay, the country of deception, lies, and propaganda. Of course, they've got blue plastered all over the place because they're associating it with trust. We're a trustworthy brand. You can trust us. Just kidding. Just kidding. We're gonna fuck up your life. So very interesting. Just like purple, right, with like royalty versus spirituality, it can go very, very, very two different ways. So just pay attention to like how you again feel about blue. So it represents stability, trust, commitment, corporate America. But also what I find so interesting and also kind of like an oxymoron, honestly, is higher education, serenity, and tranquility. It's like, I don't think about that when I get corporate America. So it's like the culture of a country has created blue into this twisted other meaning. So again, if you guys are American, blue means something to you that it does not mean to me as a Canadian. It's very interesting to see how it's like, yeah, clarity, trust, thought, and then America, like, it feels like they intentionally twisted it. I don't know. Conspiracy theories. So it's very interesting. And again, we were talking about like, okay, add blue to this color, add blue to this color. Do you know why it calms people the fuck down? Because it actually physically lowers the heart rate and blood pressure. It's so cool. So it's actually been proven, to lower body temperature, but also slow breathing. Okay. And again, if you guys have this in your branding, if you gotten it from me, this is why, this is what I'm trying to do for your clients, is to chill them the fuck out, breath work. So blue associated with throat chakra, right? So it's like clarity, communication, talking, processing information, right? Introspection, but also understanding self, but processing information. This is one thing that people seem to forget when it comes to like our Mercury or even, yeah, the throat chakra. It's like, it's as much like it's how you are received as well. So don't just blurt stupid shit out. Blue, if you're drawn to blue, it's because you're being invited. Your subconscious is like, hey, you fucking idiot. Can you think about what you say before you say it? Interesting shit, right? So this one's interesting to me as well because of, it makes sense. Navy, like the Navy, this makes sense to me. And also, yeah, I'm just thinking about uniforms, right? So navy blue, it's like distinct formal, but it's this like the international color of duty and trustworthiness. So again, very interesting if you guys mix like navy blue with dark purple, it's like you can trust me in a position of spirituality. I've done that a few times, the sneaky. What's so funny to me, and I've seen a lot of stupid brands do this, if you neutralize, we'll talk about what that means in the next session. If you neutralize blue, do you know what you just did? You're like, what's up? I'm a blue collar fucking company. You just did that. I've seen so many people use this color in their brand, and I'm like, okay, why don't you just marry a mechanic and not put this into your brand? Because you're calling in the wrong people, unless your brand is to like, invite blue collar people into self introspection. Like that was a far reach, but that's the only thing that I could think of using this color outside of like the blue collar industry. Okay, it's very average and like dependable, but it's like, I'm gonna fix your car. It's not like you can trust me as a coach or anything like that. So I see this a lot and I'm like, yeah, you just made yourself average. Good job. Also, like, no shade on those industries. Sorry, I'm just talking about the spiritual industry and why you wouldn't want to bring like blue collar work into it. Okay, so brilliant blues. Look how fucking vibrant this blue is, right? So it's like azure is what you would call that. It's thought provoking. It provokes your thoughts. It makes you like ask very intriguing, high level intelligence, but I'm going to actually think about this before I blurt something out. Thoughts, very introspective. And then of course, again, when we add white to anything, we immediately make it serene. So it's like this beautiful calming, like slow down my breathing, lower my body temperature blue, and then we're going to add white to it. Okay, so it's immediately like very serene. Think of like running water, right? Okay, we're at black. So we're getting into the neutrals. We're almost done. Sorry, this is probably like a 17-hour session. So black, power, of course, elegance, but also sophistication. So definitely we associate black just in general with mystery, intrigue, also sex, but like probably not healthy sex, if I'm being honest. If I think about black in terms of sex, I think of like Scorpio, and it's very manipulative. So I don't know. That's just my opinion. But also evasiveness. Funny, right? So black, just in general, it's like taboo and evil throughout history, but you guys know this, or maybe you don't. Welcome. In the spiritual industry, black absorbs and repels negativity. Okay. So it's not like a bad color. It's not. So what's interesting, again, be very careful with this one, very self-aware. It stresses the presence of power, but the reason for this, and again, you can't fuck with the black. It's got to be black, black, black. It is because it is the most absolute. It's like, yeah, this is black. There's no way to go with it. Like with every other color out there, it's like, oh, it's like light brown, dark brown, rich brown, like hot pink, whatever, right? But it's like, no, it's fucking black. You can't go anywhere, you can't change it, you can't do anything. It's black. So it's very absolute and it's very like final, definitive, right? So there is authority in that. It's like, no, this is my opinion, this is what I do, and I'm not budging. So yeah, what's up, Scorpio? Stubborn, right? So it is very, yeah, definitive is the word I'd stick with. What's cool is gray, very simple, again, black and white. Simple, simple, simple. So what I love about this is it actually mixes purity of white with this black, I guess you could say like strength or power or authority. So really what this is it creates the color of wisdom, which is so interesting, like Gandalf the Grey, right? Right? Yeah. So I love this. This was one of my brand colors for a while, and I definitely feel this. The charcoal and the darker gray, it's all about sophistication and discernment, but I do want to point this out. It is at any tax bracket. It is like, I don't need to show off money because I'm just an amazing person. So it doesn't show off or like command that people look at them. Like when I was telling you guys, people use gold as like an icky color. It doesn't do that at all. It's just like, I'm sophisticated, I know who I am, I'm wise, and I'm a boss, but I don't need to flex on you because I'm just awesome. So I really do love the meaning of that color. So definitely, like, duh, think of the word, like the term, I don't know why I keep saying duh, the phrase shades of gray. So gray, it's very complex. There's so many different levels of it, and what's really cool about using gray is it invites your audience, or even yourself if you're drawn to it, to reflect on your own stance. It's like, I'm not going to tell you what to think. Why don't you develop your own opinion? Okay. So again, pay attention if you guys are drawn to gray. And just in general, this is very, symbolism as well. If we add gray to a color, that's what neutralizes it. So just again, think about that in terms of symbolism. But it really does give people this ability to, I guess, like open up is how I would phrase that. But yeah, like giving the emotion, conveying the emotion, or allowing or inviting the emotion of being open to interpretation. So it's, yeah, like reflect on your own stance. But it's so interesting. It's like if you take any color, right, any of those meanings that we just went through, you add gray to it, it's like, what do you think, motherfucker? And it invites people to kind of wise up. Do you see what I mean now with like when I used to just hate harvest orange? Now that I'm a grown-ass woman, I love that color. And it's like, oh yeah, cool. I splashed some wisdom into orange. So I'm not a drama queen anymore. I'm harvesting my abundance. So hopefully you guys know what I'm getting at there. Moving on, brown. I thought this was so interesting. I don't know about you guys, but I definitely had a little witchy phase where I was like candles and all the meanings of them, which is cool because I actually learned color psychology before that phase in my life. And yeah, brown, it's like the color of home, hearth, family, right? It's like, again, safe space, but it's more of like comfort and rooting and relaxation. Okay, we'll talk about that in a second. So yes, definitely add brown to your color scheme if you want to convey like home, nature, but also safety, and not like a gross, I'm sorry, I'm just going to shame this color, like pastel floofy Libra way. Okay, so it's like certainty and comfort and like safety, but not like safe space, calm down, quiet yourself, let's be timid. comma criminal mind. So this is really interesting and makes so much sense, right? Tryptophan. Tryptophan, do you guys know what that is? It literally makes us feel sleepy. So warning, 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 warning. If you guys are drawn to brown, you're like, I'm going to put this in my brand. Maybe fucking don't, unless you're trying to put your audience to sleep. If you are trying to get them to calm down and retreat into nature, yeah, great, cool. Use the brown, but like it makes you tired. So be careful. Be careful with these colors. They really do have a strong effect on us. So it's very interesting. Of course, this translate, like it's not going to put them to sleep, maybe if they stare at it long enough, but it's used to make people feel at ease. So this is interesting. And probably why like beige is so huge in the spiritual industry. It's like approachable, dependable, and you know, you can count on me as a coach kind of thing, right? So again, with beige would be brown with white added to it. So it's like that stability and the safety of brown, but it's like purity. So it is very, very safe space color. And again, when I see people using this color, this tint in their branding, and they shouldn't be, I'm like, you're making yourself small and safe, and you're literally like neutralizing yourself, right? Okay. And of course, this is really cool too for like the bossy people out there. Richer browns actually give us the sense of structure and stability, but also authority, right? Because it's like more of the black added to the brown. Okay, I think this is my last one. So white, general, very in general, purity, innocence, but I like this, minimalism. This makes a lot of sense to me, right? So it's kind of like we simplify a color when we add white to it. You could think of it that way. So when we use white, really, I love this. We are actually conveying that it's like, okay, clean slate, fresh canvas, okay? What I love about this is like, there's nothing being projected onto you. So what's up if you're drawn to white yourself? New beginning, fresh start, okay? It's like when you add white to all those other colors, it's like, okay, refresh, we're refreshed, okay? So just pay attention to how it makes you feel. Again, note the stuff. If it makes you feel empty, or like judged, just know that's your reflection of it, okay? But what I do love about it is it does add like innocence and calm. And again, your mindset is all that matters. If you guys are creating branding or whatever with this stuff, how you feel about the color, that's what it's going to convey. So diving into the kinds of whites. Cream, I'm obsessed with this color. I've got Cancer, Jupiter. Cream is maternal and nurturing. So it's very safe space, but it's also like, I'm going to mother you in this safe space. It's not like a neutral safe space, kind of like the, you know, the beige, or like if you think of the safe space light pink, that's like, we're going to be best friends, Libra. It's like, I'm your mom. Okay, so just be aware if you're using that in your brand, or if you're drawn to that color, you want a mama relationship. What I think is really fucking cool is stark white. It's all about high moral standing. So again, think of the word purity. A lot of people, and I had to work through this myself. Hello, Catholic schoolgirl. When I think about purity, I'm like, oh, puritanical. And it's like, you have to be a virgin or you're sullied. But it was so cool to like shift that and be like, no, purity is like returning high moral standing. So yeah, what's up, white in your face? Shove that in your face, right? So again, just this is all your mindset being reflected back at you. If you feel icky about stark white, if it feels judgmental, alone, and cold, it is because of the way that you're using it and how you feel about it, because we create with our subconscious, right? Like you guys, when you go create your Instagram posts or whatever you're doing with this color theory kit, you are creating that with your subconscious. So if you don't like what you're looking at, that's because your brain was like, yeah, I'm going to make this come out. I'm going to make this come out of the body. So I do love this about white. It's simplicity, absolute truth. I do want to state that because a lot of people, I have this weird discussion with them. This is in my chart where they're like, yeah, but can I get away with this? I'm like, what do you fucking think? You're asking me. So obviously you shouldn't, right? So it's like absolute truth. Do not lie about anything. If you lie, it's because you're trying to get away with something, right? So yeah, it's clean, fresh, unscathed. And of course, that might trigger some people that are weird about the concept of purity. But for me, I'm like, yeah, high moral standing. What? Not again, it's an absolute, right? There's no like shifting black or white. That's why there's that term. It's black or white, right? So last but not least, very, very interesting color. I see this all over the spiritual industry as well. Blush, or like a whisper of pink. It really is the most innocent of all colors out there. And why? It's because we've got this like whole purity concept splashed with like this other like pink, small, play it small, safe space color. Okay. So I just talked for 7 hours. I do apologize. And this was just the first session. So please actually listen to this a few times, because I say things that I don't think to write down all the time. And I'm sure you guys will get a lot more out of like the audio recording. And this kit, if you've gone through your branding and you go through this again, and like go through this kit like every few months as well, and see where you're at. Do like self checks with it.